Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 Lexus GX550. This is a Premium Plus. It's finished off in Nightfall Mica. MSRP starts right over $71,000. Now this is powered by the 3.4 liter twin turbo V6. It's paired to the 10-speed automatic, and it pumps out 349 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the full-time four-wheel drive system, propelling this 5,500-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. It has a top speed of 110 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 21 gallons. You'll expect to see around 15 miles per gallon in the city, 21 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.2 inches. Its overall length is 197. It has a width of 77.9, a height of 75.5. Its ground clearance measures in at 8.7 inches. And as far as off-roading angles go, for the Premium Plus, it doesn't have a lift or larger tires like the Overtrail, but you're looking at a 26-degree approach angle, 23 for the breakover angle and the departure angle. So if you add a slight lift to this and some larger tires, of course you will have some better off-roading performance. Now as we work our way to the exterior styling now for this boxy SUV, you'll notice there's still the hourglass design for the very large grille, where there's the Lexus logo, which is the forward sensor. There's a camera underneath that. Plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine. This is also equipped with LEDs for everything in the housings. There's the DRLs, triple beam design for those headlights and high beams. And then there's also fog lights in the lower section of the bumper with some gloss black trim accents. There's parking sensors up front, a lot more cutouts in the lower section there, and then some very nice hood bulges coming down both sides. Now this Premium Plus is also equipped with a set of 20-inch wheels with that two-tone design to them. There's also body-colored fender flares. There's body-colored for the power-folding side mirrors, which also feature the camera and the turn signal. For this Premium Plus, there's the sunroof along with the roof racks. All of the window trim is blacked out as well. There's a set of fixed running boards, and then some very nice lines that run down the side. And then as we work our way to the back, there's the gloss black spoiler along with the integrated third brake light. The wiper blade is in the lower section. There's also LED taillights. There's the backup camera with all the parking sensors. And then you do have this hitch cover that you can remove when you do want to hook up to a trailer. This can tow right around 8,000 pounds, which is pretty impressive for this SUV. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, this does have the manual glass. So you can use that control and then open that up to gain access to the back there. And then in order to work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob. There's the button up underneath the X here, or you have the hands-free option. Just kick your right foot over on the right side of where the hitch would go, and that will open up. And then with that open, the GX offers 3 rows. For the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus, those are only 2-row vehicles. But for the rest of them, we have the 3rd row, which is currently down. As you can tell, there's a good bit of space with them down. And then you can also fold down the 2nd row. So if you need that much more interior space, you can do that if you need to. And then the 3rd row is automatic. So we have these controls over on this side, where you do need to make sure that you have the 2nd row in the up position. So if those seats are reclined, you will have to go around and put them up to get clearance for the 3rd row. So as we put the 3rd row up, I wish you could just push on these buttons. You do have to hold them for them to lock into place, and then you can manually flip up the headrest from there. Folding them down gives you a little bit better visibility when you have no one in the back. And as you can tell, not the largest amount of space with the 3rd row up. So if you do have this packed full of people, hopefully you don't have a lot of storage that you need to place in the back. There's a little bit of storage underneath, but it's not large enough for big items. You could place some smaller things underneath if you needed to. But there's also tie-down hooks, there's a 12-volt, and then you have the area to place that cover if you have the 3rd row down and you want to use that. So it's still practical for 2 people to be in that 3rd row, and then you can mix and match that as needed. Now you can also lock and unlock this with all 4 door handles, which is really nice. And then for this interior, this has the saddle brown. There's only 3 color options for the interiors on the GX, at least for the Premium Plus. So we have that saddle brown. There's also some black leather along with the wood trim, and then a little bit of storage in that lower section. And then as we work our way to the 3rd row now, all you need to do is pull on this tab here. You do have to make sure that the front seats are up a little bit, because once we have this flip up, that seat needs to be out of the way in order for that to happen. And so at 5'10", I can work my way into one of the two seats here where you actually have a good bit of space. So for my legs there, my knees are very high up, so I'm sitting kind of low, but my head is just up against the headliner here. So honestly, I could ride around town. You have the ability to recline and incline these seats, which is nice. There's also cup holders along with a USB there. And then we do have some vents up top and grab handles. So it's not all that bad to ride around town, at least at my height. And then you can easily get out. We can lock this seat into place. And then from there, we can use that adjustment on the side and recline these seats. So you have the adjustments to do that, which is nice. There's also a grab handle. You have your air vents. There's storage pockets behind both front seats. These are even heated seats as well. You have all of your climate adjustments and some auxiliaries. You can also opt for captain's chairs as well. So if you want a 6-seater, you can get captain's chairs, or you can have the bench style here, where you still have a comfortable seat, even reclined all the way back. Now right in the middle, there's the armrest along with cup holders, and then you still get a good bit of visibility. I need to lower this just to give you a little bit more, but you have large cargo windows there, so you can easily see all around. And then as we work our way to the driver door panel, there's all the window adjustments, side mirror controls, which again are power folding. And then we have the same design for the rest of that door panel. And then the same design for these seats. They are power operating, so all those controls are down on the side. And you do get that grab handle for all 4 passengers. Now this also has a leather steering wheel. There's brushed accents for the paddle shifters there, as well as some of the trim accents on both sides. But let's fire this up. We can go over the technology for this GX. So starting over on the right side, there's mode and tuning, along with your cruise and adaptive cruise. You have your lane keeping assist. On this left side, there's volume and tuning along with some Bluetooth controls. And then you also have those arrows to go through the digital gauge cluster. Now, I got this vehicle full. We have 36 miles left on the range, and the average for this over that time period has been just over 20 mpg. So not all that bad. It's not the most fuel efficient, but for the weight and the size, that is pretty good. So for this digital gauge cluster, you do have 3 different settings and pages that you can customize. So you'll notice 2, 3, we can go back to 1 here. And if you hold on OK, you can actually customize what you would like to see on the middle, on the right side, and then on the left side as well. So within those 3 pages, you can have everything set up and ready to go. So that way you can quickly just get through all of those as needed. That is as configurable as it gets, but it is nice to see. Now on this left side, there's some dimmer switches, memory seating adjustments. This is the parking support brake that you can turn on and off. You have the power liftgate, that power outlet in the back there. There's also 1 air vent. This does get a head-up display. Currently it is showing miles per hour, speed limit sign, along with distance pacing and the lane keeping assist. There's also a sensor on the steering column there to make sure that you are paying attention. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system, I currently have the Apple CarPlay on at the moment. But on this left side, you have all these shortcuts here, so you can get into the built-in nav for this system. You have music, your phone. There's also some information here for the vehicle. You can go into off-road, monitor all of that. You can look at your driving assistance. So you can go through all of these standard safety features and have them on or off depending on what you would like. There's also a lot of settings here just to customize this further. But with the Apple CarPlay, it's very easy to use. You can make this full screen and then quickly go through the rest of that info. So I like the sizing of the screen with being able to use your phone there. Now underneath that, this has heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. You do have some climate adjustments that you can get into, as well as adjusting the rears, so you can do that from up front. You can also get into your frequently used. You have comfort and convenience, head-up display adjustments, so basically shortcuts into that information. And then you have your fan speed, temperature dials. There's volume along with some defrosters, air vents underneath that. There's also a few auxiliaries over on that passenger side. And then there's a few drive modes as well. So by toggling this rotary dial here, you can go from sport to a normal. Last one is eco. And then you also have ECT second, which is the electronically controlled transmission, second gear. You can push on that and you will start up from second gear. So if you're towing or off-road, you want to skip first, you can do that. There's tow and haul, traction control. And then when we put this into reverse, There's the backup camera along with the guidelines and top-down view on that left side. And then if I put this into drive and then push on this view button, that is how you can get the forward-facing camera to appear. There's also the automatic setting. So at slower speeds, this will automatically pop up. It's around 4 or 5 miles an hour. And then also over on that side, there's the trailer braking system. You can also shift using the shifter or the paddle shifters themselves. There's e-brake and auto hold, 4 low with a center locker. There's 2 cup holders, which you can hide away. Wireless charging is an option. And then there's plenty of room in the center armrest as well as in the glove box here. And then there's also a small lip up top, so you can place your phone or some smaller items there. And then there's the rear view mirror with the garage door buttons. I believe the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus have that digital rear view mirror. Would be nice to see in the rest of the trim levels. There's also the dome lights as well as the adjustments for that sunroof being able to tilt and open. And then here's a look at visibility. Like I said, if you have that third row headrest down, that gives you a lot more visibility. And then if you lower the one in the middle, that gives you a lot more visibility as well. So the headrests are a little tricky just depending on who's in the vehicle, but overall, you can see easily all around. So as we set off now behind the wheel for the Lexus GX550, we have been able to film quite a few of these, but this is the first time actually using it on a daily basis. This is day 5 with the Lexus now, so I have quite a lot to go over. I will be making a final 1-week video with my wife as well, since we both have a lot of seat time behind the wheel for this luxury SUV. This has really grown on me a lot in the last couple of days. I really liked when the redesign came out. I was never really a huge Lexus fan as far as ever wanting to get a vehicle. I have had Toyotas, but I never wanted to make the switch to Lexus. But after driving around this GX550, this is a serious contender for my X5 replacement. This can tow. It is super comfortable out on the highway. I've put probably 350 miles on this so far, and I really don't have any complaints with this. The one minor complaint I have is the auto hold resets every time you turn this back on. So I currently have it on at the moment. If I shut it off, it will be off. I'll have to push on this button again. In the X5, it stays wherever you have it before you shut it off. So the minorest of issues is I wish that stayed however you had it when you restarted the vehicle. But other than that, it is very, very nice. I like the screen, all the technology that it has. I really can't think of anything negative to say about this. This is a vehicle that I'm very excited about for my wife, and just to be able to have at some point, if this is the route that we choose to go, because there's a huge following with the Lexus GX. As far as overlanding it, I can lift this, put on some bigger tires, just have some fun with this. Maybe take it off-road. I didn't take this one off the pavement. With this Premium Plus, we have some larger wheels, not as much ground clearance as some of the other models like the Overtrail Plus. So this is something that could go off-roading. It's a little bit more of the overlanding adventure than true off-roading like I will do in my Tacoma. And then one thing with the Lexus GX in general, there's not a whole lot of options necessarily for these vehicles. So there's 6 different trim levels. We have the Premium, Premium Plus, which we're in, and then it goes Luxury, Luxury Plus, Overland, and Overland Plus. And it's interesting to see that I built one online. I built a Premium and I built an Overtrail Plus. There's not a huge difference as far as some different color and two-tone options that you can get on the higher trim levels, but everything else like wireless charging is an option, so this one is spec'd with that, of course. There's not really other options that you can get, so it's kind of a base entry or a base level is going to get even heated and cooled seats just like the Overtrail Plus. Massaging seats I don't think is an option, which I think would be neat to see as far as just adding that for a vehicle like this, but across the board they all seem to be fairly similar. There's 3 different interior color options that you can go with, and then as you get into the higher trim levels you get some exterior colors. So personally, I don't see the point in even getting an Overtrail Plus. I think if I buy one, it's going to be a Premium or the Premium Plus that we're in, and then I can lift it, do wheels and tires. For a few $1,000s, you basically have an Overtrail Plus. Now, a few options like the cooled center armrest is only available on those, but to spend 10 to 15 grand more for a higher trim level, I personally don't see the need to do that. It looks like an entry level, so the Premium model can give you basically everything you want. You can add some options. It's just really if you want that two-tone color, which I'll just wrap the upper half of this and keep the lower half whatever color the vehicle is. So as far as speccing a Lexus GX, now that I've had time with one, I've built one, I've looked at options, it doesn't look like there's a huge difference. So I'm not sure why you would want to spend more when there's really no significant benefits on some of the higher trim levels. You do get a full moonroof in the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus. So I guess if that's worth 10 grand to, you know, be able to spec one, that's probably about it. You can also get captain's chairs, which I may or may not have mentioned earlier. I think that's the route we're going to go. It's about $400, but they are heated. They might be ventilated. I think they're just heated though. And you can get the captain's chairs versus the bench in the back. But other than that, super solid SUV to drive. With the standard suspension that this one has, I mean, it's a super sturdy, still luxury SUV. So I like the blend between some of the luxuries that it has without going overboard, and then just how sturdy of a vehicle this drives. We also have the twin turbo V6, which I have seen some concerns with, especially in the Tundra, but the Tundra offers the hybrid with it as well. So with this not having the hybrid system, I think it's going to be a super solid engine. It's got plenty of power too. And so if we pop it into sport mode, we can use these paddles now. We'll go into second gear and we'll give it an acceleration. Not the fastest vehicle, even in sport mode there, but it's got plenty of power. I haven't had any issues with merging, anything like that, and I have towed with this, and towing seems to be fine too. 8,000 pounds is very healthy for its towing, so it doesn't struggle, it doesn't sag or anything. It's got plenty of power for those capabilities as well. And in sport mode, second gear, here we go. I will say, for the weight of this, with about half acceleration there, it definitely has plenty of get up and go to it. There is a difference as well between the different driving modes. So when I was out on the highway, I put it into eco mode, and you could tell that it limited the throttle response a little bit more. So just depending on the driving that you're doing for the day. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the Lexus GX550. I was super excited when this was our next press vehicle to really experience and get some time behind the wheel of this luxury focused SUV. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a vehicle that is a serious contender when it comes time to replace my wife's BMW X5. We are looking to go with the GX550. There might be a few other options to pick, but so far I think this is number one. And the reason in that is we need the towing capabilities. She likes having a bigger SUV, so that's a win-win right there. And then as far as getting the reliability, the BMW has been great. We just own the hybrid version, which I'm not looking to want to own outside of that warranty with the hybrid technology. So in this model here, we don't have a hybrid, we have the twin turbo V6. And so that's something I can work on, something that's going to be a lot more reliable. This is a vehicle that if and when the time comes, it will be a 10-year vehicle. This is something that we will own for a long time. And that with any other Lexus, really, Toyota as well, that's the goal. That's what a lot of people do when they buy these models. I'm looking to buy the Toyota Tacoma. That may not be a 10-year vehicle just because I go through vehicles differently with modifications and the channel and all of that, but certainly could be a 10-year vehicle as well. So if you're looking for just a solid vehicle that doesn't have a million settings to go through, I've really enjoyed driving this and being able to quickly go through everything and use what is available here. So I really don't have any concerns as far as that. When you compare this to my wife's BMW X5, it rides almost the same, with hers having the adaptive suspension, which does provide it with a little bit more comfort, but this is not that much different. It's really hard to tell there is a difference. And it's missing a few things like no massaging seats and maybe a few other minor things. But as far as at least comparing it to another luxury brand, BMW is a little bit more luxurious, I would say, than Lexus. I mean, I wouldn't regret getting rid of the BMW for this Lexus here in terms of being a luxury focused SUV. Something that is going to last you a long time for sure. But that is going to wrap it up for this 2024 Lexus GX550. Stay tuned for the 1 week review with my wife so we can get her perspective with this luxury focused SUV and take a look at the rest of the GX content. I've been able to film a few different trim levels if you want to see some of the minor differences with all of them. But if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.